Uh, yes, just give me a few seconds. Now let's. Now this is going to be a little bit of a uh, discussion also. Now you may want to really share here because it is our own life, your life, our life. We are going through this, and I tried to dissect it and try to understand in a better perspective so that we have some clarity in case if you are facing any kind of a this thing. So uh, time, this whatever I'm going to share, it might give you some better perspective, or some people you already have it, but take this as a learning for, because some for someone also you might want to share something similar like this. Okay, now this is where all it comes. Now the topic which I have chosen for you, which is related to this hub, is where that where is that fulfillment, the no, quote unquote, right? Where is that fulfillment in your struggle? Okay, now let's understand, let's try to decode this. Now let me just share. Okay, now there are three types of struggles. Okay, now I just try to collate some information based on whatever experience I have gone through. Okay, now I have not gone somewhere and studied and dig down information, and I just went to my life, and I said, now struggle means, is it only a common word or there is something else? Then I came up with, there there are some three struggles are there. Now let's understand what are these three struggles. Okay, now in a nutshell, struggle for livelihood, we will understand one by one. Okay, and struggle for struggle or social obligation, and struggle with self. Okay, the last one is the real objective, where I wanted to communicate some powerful thing to you. And but before that, this background was very essential for me to communicate with you people. Now let me just go to the next page. Okay, now when I say struggle for livelihood, what is coming to your mind? Now this is going to be a little bit of a interactive, and I want you to think. Okay, now there is a famous researchers, and recently I just put in my hub also. The PhD, sorry, Nobel Prize winner was asked once. Okay, now what is the real problem with the people? Okay, or men? And he said, men simply don't think. Okay, we don't take out time for ourselves and think about it. Okay, now here is the point. Now just let me know, when I say struggle for livelihood, now what does it mean? Any idea what this could be? And this is going to be this kind of a sessions which I'll be conducting, because I will be making you to think something, because once you start collaborating here, now there is something outcome which you are going to perfect. This is actually is that daily needs, that's the livelihood, right? Now if you look at this, there is something more to it. Okay, now when you become a graduate, okay, getting a job for your livelihood, you had to struggle for that, getting that first job, right? That is where the struggle started. Now let me know, you agree with these other points are also becoming a victim of office politics. Sometimes it is happening in front of you, and you are unable to do anything out of it, just to live the life. Okay, and low growth rate, and you are phenomenally giving the results to your company, and sometimes company is not really recognizing, and they are not even appreciating, right? So hardly anybody appreciate for your great work. And sometimes the struggle starts when the recession prevails. Okay, now this is for, in a nutshell, this is what the struggle for. Finally, what is the struggle for? We want to have that day-to-day needs, what is really required for us, right? For that, this is what the struggle what we are going through. Okay, now let's understand struggle of for social obligations. Any guesses now? This is something very interesting, which I let me just see who can just. Yeah, Ravindra, you also said it, collecting for a day-to-day needs. Perfect. Okay, now tell me, what is the social obligation struggle for social obligations? Any guesses now? what people will say. Okay, okay, you already bullseye, right? Now let's go here once again. Okay, now look at this. Now I just tried to generalize it. Okay, now there is a reason behind why I just taken these points, and you may also have some other points also along with this. Okay, most of the people, if you look at this, people have become doctors and engineers because their family was in a doctor family, and the family was into engineering, or they literally want everybody to become an engineer. Okay, now they never asked whether you really want to become an engineer in a core sense, core point of view. So let me just share one my experience. Okay, when I was working in IT industry for I was working for IBM. Okay, that time I was literally strongly feeling that I need to come out of the comfort zone to do something. So I was exploring lot and lot. I was attending workshops. I was going wherever it is possible in the idea wherever I really wanted, right? So actually I wanted to do something in the creative field. That is how I joined a filmmaking course on weekends. And there were 28 students, and when they were asked to introduce themselves, the interesting part came in. Out of 28, 90% of the people were engineers, and one of them was IIM. Okay, now when they introduced, almost 90% of the people, they said, I never wanted to become an engineer in my life. Okay, that is why they were trying to explore this filmmaking course, and they were creative minds actually, right? So in core, we do it. In fact, my father is an engineer again. So because my father was an engineer, I also become an engineer. If you ask me today, if I ask myself now, that time was there any thought like really I wanted to become an engineer and do something like this sort of a thing? Obviously the answer is no. How many of you relate with this? Have you relate with this? If you relate with yourself, just say yes, me, or something like that, right? So there is no kind of a set this thing, because they are doing, let's do it, because that is one part. Second part is our society also really look at you in a different perspective if you become an engineer or a doctor, right? So this is a obligation of the society. For them, we not only we get influence and we start doing it. And once you get a job, right, getting into a branded company is always like a pride for anybody. And salary structure is, if it is like more than 35,000 or 30,000 for a fresher, it becomes a talk of the town in the area wherever you are doing. But literally, if you look at the kind of exposure what they get in that big company, and there is no respect for any people who just want to join startup and do anything, right? So can you see there is a struggle, and to get into a branded company and not knowing the real what my interest is, or what is that experience I really want to gain. There is no thought process at all. Okay, and another struggle is peer pressure. Normally, okay, it is a most of the people's case. Okay, now some people, you may not be like this, but I'm just sharing because of the considering the overall perspective, what is the majority of the people who are thinking like this. It's like a peer pressure. He did it, so I also want to do it. It is natural. In mostly in India, I think looks like it is very prominent, right? He bought a house, then I should also buy it. Or he started some business and it is really flourishing, the same business I really want to do. People will think like this. But whether the inner what you want, what I want to call it is the inner calling, what is really that inner calling, we don't want to do it. No, the last word is the conformity. That means conformity is something like what everybody is doing, we also do it because it is socially well accepted. Okay, now there is something called a non-conformity. That means you really want to do something different other than other people, you won't get that appreciation or the recognition or something. Initially there will not be any motivational part. So if you are that kind of a person, there is a actually social obligation. This is the struggle. Okay, now, okay, now tell me one thing. Now this is a fundamental. I was just thinking now, what is the question which I want to ask you? there are two things, right? Initially it is for job and sustaining yourself for your livelihood. Okay, second one is the social obligations, right? Now where did you find the fulfillment? Where did your where did you find your fulfillment in this journey, right? If you ask me, it is not focused on you, it is always focused on the external world, wherein you are trying to fulfill that and you get the appreciation and you also feel happy, no doubt. We should be proud of it. Okay, but there is something additionally also we should be knowing that. That is the context of this today's topic. Okay, now the next one which I really want to share is the struggle with self. Okay, this is where it becomes very, very interesting, my dear friends. Now people up to 9 to 10 years, they run just like they will run it, and the growth will also accordingly, whatever pace it takes, it goes in a nice speed, and the stagnation starts coming at after 9, 10 years or 11 years. Okay, the growth is not faster, and what your real, let me just show this point here itself. Okay, so look at this just a lot of thought process has gone into draw this line for you. Okay, when it comes to struggle for self, there is something, two things are happening with us. One is, as I covered these 2 points, right? The growth, which you want job and a good company and a good hike and a great promotion so that you can go. This growth perceived by the outside world, that is where people will say, hey, I think Manjesh, you are doing a fantastic, phenomenally great, because you're working for such a multinational company. Ravindra, you are working for what is that, company? How can I forget this? You, most of the time you say it. BMW, sorry. Okay, so people, the moment anybody look into Ravindra, I think you're working for BMW. Okay, wow. Now you tell me, Ravindra, we are discussing, right, very closely and all that, because sometimes we share now, and this is the hub. Openly we have to share. It is not something personal we are discussing. We are talking about the real practicality. Even I worked in IT industry. I was thinking, when the day I'm going to come out so that I can start doing on my own or something else. Okay, so people will, the moment say Ravindra is working for BMW, that means the whole family, our own people, everybody is really, really looking at you in a different perspective. When you look at inside yourself, what is happening? Are you really every day feeling great? Yes, no? Obviously, right? So there is something which is real self is telling, actually I wanted to do this and I'm doing this. There is a big gap. Now what is the way, right, way out? Now that is why I thought of creating this graph so that I can just share with you. Now what is happening, I'll tell you. If you look at the growth perceived by the outside world is where, which company the person is working and what all things he has with him, car, bungalow hai, all those things, right? But you as a person, you know that it is having it, but there is a gap which is already filled, which you internally are not feeling happy about yourself. Why? Because certain answers are not answered in a core level. That's why you're feeling that. Now this is where, the day after 9, 10 years of your experience, that is the moment you start thinking, now what is that I'm doing? Am I doing in the right direction? When you started getting a job, right, that time also you were not clear, this is the field. Okay, now in this case, I think Manjesh, you were laser focused. You wanted to get into design. I think you are there. Okay, 90% of the people, they get into the job and they want to join wherever the job opportunity is there. They don't think that whether the interest, I have that interest in this or not, right? Now they will start like that after 9, 10 years of experience. Then they start thinking where the real wrong thing has gone, and they will go to the root, and the root is always the choice at the first time what they made it. Now that is the moment when they realize this is where the detachment starts coming. Now how do I fulfill this? Okay, now that is the moment they will start thinking, now what is really important for them. It is not the outer world's things. This is something which we need to detach ourselves. Okay, now when I say detachment, okay, it is, that is where the, when you become a detached, right, that's where the fulfillment starts coming. What does it mean? So actually, when you start detaching, doesn't mean that you are leaving everything. It is like you are not really connected with it, but you're still connected. You know, that's the kind of a detachment which I'm just telling. Fulfillment will be associated with the detachment of all this outer world thing. That's where person who tries to become a down to earth person, right? Now it's a downward movement when it comes to really getting into the fulfillment area. Now you should not be, we should not be becoming a monk here. Now the idea is not to become a monk or something, baba and all that. So when you start detaching, there is one point where is the interjection of, right, these two lives. This one I call it as the tipping point of anybody's life. At this juncture, now you understood what is the fulfillment, and you know what is your power. Okay, power means it's the experience, right? The experience, already hardcore experience you have it. It's a gelling of these two things, understanding what is the real fulfillment. When you understand this and when start doing this one, that is where the real magic starts happening. Okay, now let me just share this one, my experience. Now you will definitely relate this with, I want to know your, in case such thing is really happened in your life also. See, once 20 years back, okay, when I completed my engineering, I came from a village background, right? So when I joined multinational company in that time, it was Merck company, a German multinational company, as a service engineer. Okay, since I come from the village background, and I was very inferior person. Okay, now I was not outspoken and not talking to people. You know, that kind of a person I was. But I was very curious to know now why other people are like this, why I am like this. That is where I thought of learning something. Now somebody said, now have you really invested on yourself to learn something? Then I said, okay, is there something like, investing on myself to do some learn? That is where I went and attended one of the workshop. My dear friend, it's a total turning, life turning moment for me. Okay, now that person, now think in terms of that person who was delivering it to me. He changed my life entirely. Today, wherever, now it's almost 20 years, can you see, now I am talking about that person. Now if I am that person, can you imagine the sense of the fulfillment I have, because I really made a great difference to some person whose life has changed and his life gone into a different direction. Now he's not a guy who is a inferior complex guy, or a negative, minded person. Is always a positive perspective person. Now don't you think, now that gives the self, fulfillment. Okay, so is there anything, something like this happened in your life? I want you to say yes, no, I don't want any explanation. Just answer me. Is this something similar happened to you in your life? Who just joined late, little late, I think. Someone, Sudha. Hi Sudha, good evening. So I don't know what time you joined. So okay, so you not yet, right? Okay, fantastic. Okay, so Ravindra, Manjesh, Patan Chetty, have you ever experienced this wow moment in your life, saying that it totally changed your perspective on whatever level you were into? Okay, I got you, Sudha. Okay. Normally, we conduct this weekly meeting every Friday at 9:30 for half an hour, and sometimes it goes 10-15 minutes, because if the topic becomes interesting. Okay, now Manjesh, you said no, right? Okay, now this is what happens. Now can you imagine that person comes into your life and your life takes it to a different direction altogether? Don't you now think in terms of that person who is giving that value to me? It's an amazing thing which he is doing for any mankind. Right now today I'm remembering him after 20 years. Okay, now why I'm stressing this? Now today you are at that juncture, you are there for that now. Okay, so you have a great experience, and only thing you don't know how you are going to make it effectively designed in such a way that people will really get the value out of it and they can get transformed in their life. Okay, now this is where the last slide which I wanted to share is this one. Today you have that possibility, you have willingness to help people, but if how effectively you are going to make it happen, you are not clear. Okay, so Sudha, we had a discussion today. Now I asked you one question, right? Now you are unable to answer now. Okay, now that is where the actually, if you think through, that's where the real power is. The day you get that answer, now it becomes a powerhouse, so that you know that now it is really going to make a difference, and you know that for this only people will be ready for you to pay for that money. Okay, so this is very very important. But Sudhaji, I don't know at what point you joined, so the context you may not be really understanding in at this moment. Just it's okay for you now. Just be with it, and every week we conduct like this, and so just listen now. Okay, yeah, that's it. So okay, so friends, now it is almost 10:05 now. Normally I take 30 minutes. This call is always just, I'll just repeat for new people here. Once again, Sudha joined freshly. So we go with the core values. 5 core values are there which I share. Now today I'm not going to repeat right now. Next week again I'm going to repeat it. And any challenges, any doubts, clarifications is there. Now this is the forum wherein we discuss, and I can just clarify. And some questions I may not be in a position to answer right away, so we take offline and I'll explain and make sure that you understood. Okay, and the third thing is, there is something new topic I come every week to share to you, and there is something new trend which is there which I want you to know, so that you can adopt it and learn out of it and implement it. Learn, implement, and start teaching to the people also. Okay, this is where the whole hub is designed to give you the real value which really uh, you are looking for, and I need to be giving that kind of a support to you so that you go to the next level. Okay, so having said that, now today we covered about 3 types of a struggle, and it is boiling back to self. We struggle with ourselves, and we are not comfortable to talk to any word, and we are living that life. And sometimes majority of the percentage of the people, they live this life with that feeling, and they their life will go in this way only. So today there are a lot of opportunities are coming for people to understand in a early stage, and they start making that kind of a change in their life, and to give real value to people. That's where the sense of fulfillment comes. Okay, so it's always objective of this thing is, now you need to make revenue out of it, but what is important is, you how are you going to create that fulfillment for yourself. The fulfillment always comes by giving. So giving is not necessarily money. Okay, even if I'm praying for you is also giving. And if I'm really committed for your growth, or if I'm committed for you to get the result for yourself, is also giving. Okay, so that's where my sense of fulfillment is hidden. So I'll be sometimes running behind you people to make things happen, because I want you to get the results. Okay, so now I think I'm done with this for today's call. So uh, uh, so Ravindra, Manjesh, how did you felt? What's your takeaway now? Because I cannot ask this to Sudha, because she joined a little later. Now, what's your takeaway today, Ravindra and Manjesh? Thank you. Okay, Ravindra, what is your takeaway? Wonderful. Thank you. If you got, that's really really important, and I'm really happy. At least there is some takeaway for you for this week. So take actions. Speed of implementation is always good. Ravindra, tomorrow I'm going to talk to you about your program. Okay, so that we can go to the next level. That okay? So once again, thank you very much, and let's once again we are meeting every week 9:30 Friday. Okay, so we will meet and we will discuss something. We'll learn something new. And in case if you have any questions and clarifications, I'm always there for you. Okay. Having said that, thank you so much, and good night, everybody.